Cut to, Cam Fong is pulling up in front of their house, like he found the house. So basically, they're just hiding the shawl for the rest of the episode. And I thought, couldn't you have waited until after the second commercial for that revelation?
The end of the show?
Yeah. Be like Columbo. No, he did it like 2 seconds in, you know. And then we're just like driving the rest of the show. If I can catch him. He's just over the hill.
That's so funny. He just never gets the case. He's a homicide.
I liked
he
those
never
shows.
gets just those easy cases.
There was more cat and mouse. I'm not a big CS. I know everybody in the world loves every CSI show.
Yeah.
I don't like forensic stuff that much. That loses me.
Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
And the screaming memes.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
And the willies. I got a minor case of the willies.
The willies too.
Yeah, I like X-Files better. I was more of an X because it sort of combined that, but then there was sci-fi things, and it'd be like, oh, a fluke lived in his liver or whatever. It's always something abstruse. CSI, it's always gross. He killed her and he ripped her head off. I'm like, hey, dude, I can read the news. I want to be entertained.
And it doesn't like ER.
Some chicks in there.
Oh, I'm not a big
I've never
ER
seen
fan
it. I
either.
watched it years ago once. It seemed good.
I watched it once too, trying to get into it because everybody was watching it. But it's one of the most depressing. Like I can't see sitting there to be entertained and just be depressed. It was some episode where they had to tell a kid that his parents were killed and bring the kid into the room with the dead body. It was horrible.
Yeah, sleep tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That makes Jim laugh.
Jim loves laughing
That's
over
sweet.
horrid things.
I like depressing things. Actually, I like depressing shows, depressing film. Yeah, they're
He likes to get sad. Jim likes to get
if
sad.
it's well done, if it's not tear-jerky and forced.
I was more an NYPD Blue,
Great show.
kind of guy. There was those camps, the cop show or the hospital shows. It's been that way for a year. Remember the medical center?
Yeah.
Medical center, and then the cop shows were like the Rookies, stuff like that. That was more cop show.
Rock.
Cop Rock.
What a great idea. It's a cop show where they sing and dance. Go.
That was terrific.
Terrific.
Would that last one whole season?
Yeah.
Probably not even.
Or did it not even?
Yeah, I don't think it made
Pity
a scene.
that. The world couldn't see the genius, man. Every scene is the village people. Dude turns around with a nightstick and lays a number on you, man.
And playing part of the drums, Rodney King.
Did you, now obviously you must have been a little disappointed at the outcome of the election.
Oh, did we in the Ukraine? No, I think they're going to redo it. And Yushchenko stands a chance of winning the vote.
Yurchenko, he looks like the Hulk. He's changing into a superhero villain.
I think he spent some time in Brazil eating.
You think? He's turned green. He's green now.
Yeah, he is.
And he's got like some kind of growth thing. His head is huge, like as if he was turning into the Thing. Remember the Thing?
Yep.
Yeah. I have nothing on that. I'm just commenting on.
I
his,
do remember the Thing.
Physical.
You mean from the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Kind of looked like the guy.
Well, it's the first time I think the United States has ever been aware of the fact that there is a Ukraine, or that it's a country separate from Russia.
It is.
Yeah. The news just came in. Good for them. A wildly anti-Semitic country. The Ukraine had I think a division in the Nazi army during the war. That's just because they hated the Ruskies.
Yeah.
There you are.
So how bummed were you with Bush winning?
I'm philosophical about it by adding an extra syllable. I wasn't surprised.
No one was surprised.
No, there were people that were surprised.
Well,
there were these hardcore Kerry people that really thought he had a chance.
Vincent D'Onofrio wants to blow his brains out. He's collapsing on the
no, Kerry did have a chance. He got 52 million votes. I think there was a lot of chicanery in this election, too, to be honest. But everybody's going to jump me and go, just deal with it. So, I'm just going to plow forward and stuff like that. I think he's going to have a tough road to hoe, as they say, in the next 4 years. History has proven, if you look at, Nixon and Clinton, and that the second term is tough.
One.
Reagan? Very tough. Reagan, the second term, just boom. Yeah. People keep talking about Reagan. They keep saying he was the greatest president of all time, and a lot of stuff that bears no resemblance to reality or whatever happened in factual history, that he stopped communism, and the fact that 1/5 of the world is communist, I think, sort of belies the fact that stopping is a little strenuous.
I think what they were talking about, though, it's a little you know, the Soviet Union being communist was a little more of a threat.
I'd accept
than some
that, but
South
that's not what
American.
people say. You know how it is on the news and stuff.
Yeah.
People go, he stopped communism. It's like, not really. There go the billion people that are still communist.
Still around.
But in any case, yeah, his second term was brutal. Everybody thinks that he was just wildly popular, but the last 2 years...
I think the third term is even tougher on presidents, to tell you the truth.
He never had higher than a 68% approval rating, I don't think, Reagan. I don't know where I'm yanking that statistic at, but he never had a very high approval rating.
No, and although I think when he got reelected, it was a lot more of a, I don't know if it was a landslide, because I think only 30% of the electorate voted in that election.
Yeah.
I think you saw a lot more, activity in this one. Frankly, I think everybody on every side has reason to be cheerful in that over 100 million people voted in this lazy-assed, apathetic, supposedly stupid country. People are motivated and actually do know what's going on, so I can't see it as the worst thing in the world.
Do you think it was a bad choice, though, the Democrats putting Kerry in there?
Yeah. I think what was a bad choice was not standing for something. I think the thing that Bush does that the Democrats never do is stand for what he stands for, and you can go fuck yourself if you don't like it. And that's how I feel about my views, and that's how I feel everybody should feel, because it's the adult way to feel. If you disagree with me, fine, let's disagree and we'll discuss it. But you disagree, and that's instead of, well, I hope you like me, well, I'll modify myself so I hope you like me a little bit. Gosh, over there, you liking me? It's like any comedian can tell you, 30% of the crowd hates you. And that's even when you're killing. They just, they're going along with their friends, and then when they leave, they go, I hated that guy. And you can't please all the people all the time. And I think the whole idea that they keep trying to reconstitute the party and go, they need to appeal to the young. They need to appeal to the Bible Belt. They need to stand for something, man.
Yeah,
that's if he'd gone, I'm against the war, and that's what I'm against, and I'm for this, instead of, well, we did this, but we should have done it like that. It's like,
very wishy-washy,
Bush gives a simple message, man. He's going to kill sand monkeys, and Jesus is his pal, and guns are good, and God damn it, that resonates with people. That's his message, and that's what he stands for, and everybody knows it, and there's no quibbling.
He's wishy-washy on immigration. That's the only thing. Like, there's no policy with the Latin vote.
I hope I need some Mexicans, so by the way, everybody gets a free pass for 2 weeks. Yeah. Oh, no, he's not above, like, simple chicanery in politics every second of his life. I'm just saying that you know where he's coming from.
We said that about Kerry. Just say something. He just wouldn't say anything.
He was an intelligent man, and that's a threat to a lot of people. This is, as you know, the country's kind of they like it simple. The idea that, this is what killed me, was Lynn Cheney, who is, I understand, Dick Cheney's wife. They were having a rally for Cheney, and who couldn't vote for him? He's affable and warm and lovable, and clearly possesses the leadership qualities to make this country great. Rubbing his hands together like Mr. Burns. It took him 20 minutes to stand up. If he doesn't resign in the first 2 years, I will lay you money on the Opie and Anthony show, the Jimmy Norton show, Opie, that he will resign. I mean, we've already had. All the rats are leaving the ship. You've already seen this, and you knew this would happen, that Powell split and Tom Ridge. Ashcroft fantastically saying the object of securing the American people to security has been achieved. Thanks. Well, I'm sleeping well now, John. I'll be humming one of your hymns as I nod off.
And I'm off.
Yeah.
He leaves. Job well done. Pats himself on the back.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I've covered up the titties on all of the statues. Now we can all rest. The Al-Qaeda will no longer see aureola. So, Lynn Cheney, when the campaign was going, said, John Kerry's got a fancy haircut and a fancy manicure. Like being fancy was the crime against you. And like, Dick Cheney's a billionaire. I think fancy doesn't, it depends on what you perceive as fancy.
Yeah.
So that's where the dividing line is. The fact that John Kerry speaks French, is an intelligent person, and equivocates, basically didn't do him any favors. No. But again, I wouldn't say it was a landslide or a mandate. A landslide's when 80% of people think one thing, not 49% to 51
no,
is
it was close.
If I have 11 guys and 6 of them agree with me and I tell you that's a mandate, you might have something to say about it.
Yeah.
Although the American public did go for Clinton twice, and he was definitely brighter than Bush Sr.
I agree.
So sometimes they like a smart guy. I mean, who did he beat in the second election?
Dole.
You know what he had, though? Clinton had? It was charisma, you know? He had something. You got to appeal.
Huge rock star. Great politician.
You got to appeal to the people based on what they like. And you got to look at the majority of the American people. What do they like on television? What do they like
Tough
to
crowd?
read? What do they like to... No, sorry.
No, they used to.
Not anymore.
It's like you said,
part
the
of the
simple stuff, the stuff they can really sink their teeth into.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear stuff that's going to confuse them. They don't want to hear intellectuals. They don't. They want something charismatic. They want an easy catchphrase. They want something simple, something they could all get behind, something that fits on a bumper sticker. Something, it's that kind of stuff, and that's going to win.
I think Clinton messed things up, though, and Jim's right, because Clinton is probably the brightest president we've had since, I don't know, where you want to go back to, Carter or whatever. I mean, the guy is acute.
I like how you go right back to a Democrat.
No, please, I noticed that.
never go back.
Nixon was a bright guy.
Intelligent.
Nixon was very bright, but Nixon proceeds. We can go back to Nixon. Nixon was very bright and cagey, obviously. Like Clinton, a lawyer.
Yeah.
But Clinton ruined it for everyone because he was all things to all people. And then the next Democratic candidate you bring up after him, you've just had Mick Jagger, the candidate.
Right.
And now you're bringing out Eddie Money. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't happening the second time around. Like, dude, no one had the all-encompassing cock that Clinton has. I mean, that guy was sexy to everybody across the board. And, Bob Dole is a perfectly fine candidate for president, quite frankly. Not that I would have voted for him, but he'd been in the Senate 1,000 years. He knew everything about government. You know what I mean? Like,
he's a very honest guy. He's a very sincere guy.
I mean, there's been worse qualified candidates.
Horrible patty cakes player.
Couldn't tell the difference between fake, concrete and real concrete. Hey, this is so soft and no one wants to see the 80-year-old man fall over. That's bad. That's bad. But like I say, I think he messed up the curve a little bit. It's going to be difficult to find someone with his kind of charisma. W's got a certain kind of charisma, but not that kind of charisma.
It appeals to the middle of the country.
Yeah.
It really does.
You can argue a lot of elections. Kennedy may not have beaten Nixon at all. And, if you want to go back to the 19th century, there's plenty of contested elections. So it's a tradition in our country to jerry-rig it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good, but, hey.
It really does sound like the battle cry of the liberal Democrat, though, the whole, we didn't win, so it's fixed. And I'm sure you hear that.
We didn't win, and it was fixed, but I can appreciate, also, like I say, at a certain point, I OD'd right before the election, because I don't know about you guys, but I was up to my eyeballs in it, and, living and breathing it, and now it's like, you know what? The world goes on. I got stuff to do, and I'll keep fighting my fight, and they do their thing.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
All right, that's good. It could be worse.
That's a nice campaign
an
optimistic viewpoint.
It could be worse.
I want to ask Greg about this too, because you understand how Hollywood works the same way I do, as far as the as far as the mentality out there.
Yeah.
Why is there no outcry about what happened to Van Gogh from the Hollywood elite over a filmmaker being killed over views?
Oh, well, because one, he wasn't American, and two, hadn't made any money in Hollywood.
Nah.
And he hadn't been there to be celebrated or anything like that. If he'd been in Hollywood and had made a picture that made, $70 million indie for, Miramax or whatever, then, there'd been a big outcry. You know how selfish and up their own butt.
We were talking about Pat Sajak's article yesterday, where he wrote a great point about
Sajak?
I know, that's
article.
what I said.
Because
Pat Sajak's writing articles for a conservative publication.
Oh, really? Because I was reading Wink Martindale in The Nation the other day, and a lot of people extremely canny observer of the political scene.
It took so long to read that Pat Sajak thing, though, because you had to keep turning. All right. I'll give it a wacky horn.
But he made a good point about how because it was a Muslim murdering somebody, like if that was even in the Netherlands, if it was an abortion. An anti-abortion activist who had shot and killed a filmmaker for making a pro-abortion movie.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, that they would still be up in arms here, but because it was a Muslim, they don't want to be seen as agreeing with Bush on anything, and they've kept their mouths shut. You understand what I mean? If it was about something that was an attack on the ideology of the left.
For some reason, if you come out with a view that is against Muslims, or against not against the whole religion, just against somebody that's Muslim. If you come out with that view, you'll be looked at like you're aligning yourself with the president. And they so don't want to be aligned by.
Well, that's also
you
have to remember Pat Sajak's a Hollywood guy, and he feels that pressure of being one of 18 conservatives painted into a corner in that town, and they get a little beleaguered sometime and make those really faulty analogies like that. Like Mel Gibson coming on TV and going, "If my son was dying, I wouldn't want stem cells." You're like, relax, you're rich. It's okay. Everything will be all right. Everything's going your way. You got your president. You're good. Arnold Schwarzenegger is way more representative of what a conservative in Hollywood is like. In other words, hey, whatever you want. He didn't even go stump for Bush, but for like 2 days because he knows he has to